Okay, so you're trying to pick out the perfect automation testing tool.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's a jungle out there. Selenium, Cypress, Playwright, TestComplete.
It is, yeah.
So many options,
Mm-hmm.
and the stakes are high.
Yeah.
We're talking about your team's time, your project success, even your sanity.
You're absolutely right. Choosing the wrong tool can lead to a testing nightmare. Wasted hours, frustrated developers.
Yeah.
A product just riddled with bugs.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a pretty picture.
Definitely not the kind of deep dive we're going for, right?
No.
But fear not, dear listener. We're here to guide you through this decision-making maze.
Absolutely.
Let's start by tackling the most crucial element, your project's unique needs.
Right.
It's like building a house. You wouldn't use a blueprint for a skyscraper to build a cozy cottage. Right.
Precisely. The type of application you're testing dictates the tools you'll need. Testing a complex web application with tons of dynamic content.
Yep.
Selenium, with its power and flexibility, might be your best bet. But if you're focused on a mobile app, Appium is the specialist you need.
Makes sense. Using the wrong tool is like trying to hammer a nail with a wrench, frustrating and ineffective. And of course, it's not just about the type of application. Your tech stack plays a huge role too, right?
Absolutely. Let's say you're heavily invested in React.
Yeah.
Cypress or Playwright, with their focus on modern JavaScript frameworks, would be far more efficient than trying to shoehorn it in an older tool.
Right.
Think of it this way. You want your testing tools to complement your development workflow, not fight against it.
Seamless integration. Music to a developer's ears. Okay, so we've got the project itself figured out, but what about the amazing humans who are actually going to be using these tools, our listeners team and their awesome skills?
The human element. Always crucial. If your team is stacked with coding ninjas who can write Selenium scripts in their sleep, then by all means unleash their power. But if you're working with a team that's newer to automation or maybe prefers visual approaches, a tool like TestComplete with its no-code options could be a game changer.
Right. A gentler learning curve can make a world of difference.
Exactly.
I imagine even seasoned pros appreciate a bit less head-scratching when it comes to learning a new tool. Speaking of learning curves, time is money, right? That training investment shouldn't be underestimated.
Exactly. Sometimes a tool that requires a bit more upfront learning actually saves you time and headaches down the line. It's like investing in a high-quality kitchen knife.
What's that?
It might be pricier initially, but its sharpness and durability pay off in the long run.
Okay, so we've covered the project and the people, but what about the rest of the testing ecosystem? Tools don't exist in a vacuum, do they?
Definitely not. Integration is key. Imagine spending hours setting up your perfect testing tool, only to discover it clashes with your CI/CD pipeline or your favorite version control system. Talk about a workflow killer.
Yeah, integration headaches are the worst. Speaking of headaches, let's be real. Budget constraints are a reality for most of us.
Absolutely. And this is where things get interesting. You've got your open source options like Selenium and Playwright, free to use, but they often require a bit more heavy lifting in terms of setup, maintenance, and troubleshooting. Then there's the paid route.
Right.
Tools like UFT or Ranorex. They might have a price tag, but they often come with that comforting hand-holding in the form of dedicated support and a whole suite of pre-built features.
So it's that classic trade-off, cost versus convenience.
Right.
But I imagine even with the paid tools, having a strong community and support system can make a huge difference.
Right. You hit the nail on the head. Imagine this. You're wrestling with a tricky bug late at night, and you're feeling totally stuck.
Yep.
Is there good documentation?
Right.
A vibrant forum where you can ask for help.
Yeah.
A community can be a lifeline in those moments of testing despair.
Yeah, it's like having a team of virtual testing buddies cheering you on.
Exactly.
Speaking of support, let's shift our focus to the future. You wouldn't want to invest in a tool that's going to go extinct next year, would you?
Definitely not. Checking a tool's long-term viability is crucial. Is it actively maintained? Are new features being added? Can it scale to handle your future testing needs?
You don't want to get stuck with a tool that can't keep up with your project's growth. Choosing a tool that can evolve alongside your project is essential.
Exactly. So you're thinking long-term, but how do popular tools like Selenium or Cypress fit into the picture? Let's take a closer look at what makes them tick.
All right, let's start with the one we hear buzzing about everywhere. Selenium. It's practically a household name at this point.
Selenium's popularity is well-deserved.
Oh, yeah.
It's powerful, it's flexible, and it's been battle-tested by countless teams over the years. Think of it as the Swiss Army knife of web app testing.
But doesn't that versatility come with a bit of a learning curve? From what I've heard, Selenium isn't exactly known for being beginner-friendly.
That's true. You do need some coding chops to really harness Selenium's power.
Right.
But for experienced testers, that's actually a huge advantage. It gives you granular control over your test, allowing you to handle even the most complex scenarios.
So for those who love digging into the code and crafting intricate test scripts, Selenium is a dream come true.
Absolutely. Plus, Selenium support for a wide range of programming languages is a lifesaver for teams transitioning between tech stacks. Imagine you've built a library of Java-based test scripts.
Okay.
But now you're moving to Python. With Selenium, you can often reuse those scripts, saving you valuable time and effort.
That's a fantastic point. Reusing those hard-earned test assets is a big win. Okay, let's move on to another popular contender, Cypress.
Right?
What's the inside scoop on this rising star?
Cypress is all about speed, efficiency, and developer friendliness, especially for those working with modern JavaScript frameworks like React or Angular.
I've heard whispers about its time-traveling debugger.
Yeah.
Is it really as magical as it sounds?
It's pretty close. Imagine this.
Yeah.
You've got a complex user interaction that's causing a bug, but you can't quite pinpoint the problem.
Right.
With Cypress's time-traveling debugger, you can literally rewind your test execution step by step and see exactly what happened at each stage. It's like having a DVR for your tests.
That's a game changer for debugging those tricky front-end interactions.
Exactly.
But I do recall Cypress having a limitation when it comes to browser support, right?
That's right. Currently, Cypress is limited to Chrome-based browsers.
Okay.
If cross-browser compatibility is a top priority for your testing, you might need to look elsewhere.
And that's where Playwright enters the scene, right? From what I've gathered, it's Cypress's main rival boasting multi-browser support right out of the box.
Exactly. Playwright supports all the major browsers. Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, you name it.
Wow.
It's designed with cross-browser testing in mind, making it a great choice for teams who need that wide coverage.
That kind of flexibility is essential these days, especially with the ever-growing landscape of devices and browsers. But aside from browser support, what else makes Playwright stand out? What are those insider features that seasoned testers might appreciate?
Well, one feature I love is Playwright's auto-waiting mechanism. It intelligently handles those asynchronous operations that often plague UI testing, things like page loads, animations, and network requests.
I see where you're going with this. Less time fiddling with wait conditions means more time focusing on the actual test logic.
Precisely. And for those who love visual testing, Playwright has some really cool tricks up its sleeve. Imagine you've got a subtle visual bug. Maybe a button is slightly misaligned, or the text color is off by a shade.
Oh.
Playwright can actually capture screenshots during your tests and compare them to baseline images, highlighting any visual discrepancies.
Wow, that's taking visual testing to a whole new level. No more squinting at the screen trying to spot those pixel-perfect differences. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground with the code-heavy tools. But what about those who prefer a more visual, less code-intensive approach to testing?
Don't worry, we haven't forgotten about them. Tools like TestComplete are designed with those users in mind. It's a commercial tool that offers both code-based and codeless options, making it a versatile choice for teams with diverse skill sets.
So even if you're not a coding whiz, you can still build powerful, automated tests with TestComplete. That's pretty empowering.
Exactly. TestComplete's user-friendly interface and its library of pre-built actions and checkpoints make it easy to get up and running quickly. And if you do get stuck, their support team is top-notch.
It's like having a testing mentor by your side. Okay, we've explored web app testing in depth, but let's not forget about the mobile world. What about those working tirelessly on those all-important apps?
Well, for mobile app testing, Appium is the reigning champion.
Right.
It can handle both iOS and Android apps, which is a huge plus for teams targeting multiple platforms.
So no need to juggle separate tools for different mobile operating systems. That simplifies things considerably.
Right. And here's a bonus for those familiar with Selenium. Appium leverages the same WebDriver protocol.
Okay.
So your existing Selenium skills can be easily transferred to mobile app testing. It's like learning a new dialect of the same language.
That's a brilliant way to put it. I bet that makes the transition to Appium much smoother. Now, last but not least, we can't forget about APIs, those unsung heroes powering so many modern applications.
Absolutely. API testing is essential. And Postman is the undisputed king of this domain.
Right.
It's incredibly versatile, allowing you to test everything from simple RESTful APIs to complex GraphQL endpoints.
I see Postman being used everywhere these days, from small startups to tech giants. What makes it so universally loved?
Well, for starters, it's incredibly user-friendly. You can send requests, inspect responses, and build test suites, all within a clean, intuitive interface.
Okay.
But it's not just about simplicity. Postman also offers powerful features for collaboration, allowing teams to share collections, manage environments, and work together seamlessly.
Collaboration is key, especially in today's remote-first world. So we've covered a lot of ground, from Selenium's power to Cypress's speed and Playwright's browser flexibility. We've even explored the world of codeless testing with TestComplete and ventured into mobile app and API testing. But with all these incredible tools at our disposal, how does our listener actually choose the right one for their unique needs?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Choosing the right tool is a journey, not a destination.
Oh, yeah.
It requires careful consideration, a bit of experimentation, and a willingness to embrace the ever-evolving testing landscape.
And luckily for our listener, we're here to guide them every step of the way. Okay, so we've explored a whole arsenal of testing tools, from the seasoned veterans to the rising stars. But now comes the tough part, making a decision. How can our listener navigate this testing tool landscape and emerge victorious, armed with the perfect tool for their needs?
Well, first and foremost, I'd recommend starting small.
Okay.
Don't feel like you have to commit to a tool right away. Think of it like dating before you tie a knot. You go on a few dates, right?
Right.
Try a few different tools on for size.
I like that analogy. Testing tool trial period, so to speak. But how do you actually do that? Should our listener just dive headfirst into their most complex testing scenario?
Not quite. Start with a proof of concept, a small, focused experiment to test the waters. Pick a manageable piece of your project, maybe a single feature or user flow, and implement it using a couple of different tools. This will give you a hands-on feel for how each tool works, its strengths, its weaknesses, and whether it meshes well with your team's workflow.
So a mini testing showdown. It's like a test drive for your testing tools.
Right.
I love it. And speaking of teams, is it a solo mission, or should our listener get the whole crew involved in this decision-making process?
Definitely get the whole team on board. Developers, testers, stakeholders, everyone who'll be impacted by this choice should have a voice. Not only will this help you gather diverse perspectives and make a more informed decision, but it will also increase buy-in from the team, which is crucial for a smooth implementation.
Makes sense. No one wants to be forced to use a tool they don't like. And speaking of looking ahead, it's important to think not just about today's needs, but also about the future.
Right.
Testing needs can evolve as quickly as technology itself.
You're absolutely right. Don't just focus on solving your immediate problems. Choose a tool that can grow alongside your project. Ask yourself, can this tool handle increased test coverage as our application expands? Can it adapt to changes in our tech stack? Can it support new testing paradigms that might emerge down the line?
So choose a tool that's not just a sprinter, but a marathon runner. Something that can go the distance.
Exactly.
It's like investing in a good pair of running shoes. You want something that's comfortable, supportive, and durable enough to carry you through countless miles.
Exactly. And here's one final piece of advice that I think is incredibly important. Don't fall into the trap of hype-driven decision-making. Just because a tool is trendy or everyone's buzzing about it, it doesn't mean it's the right fit for you.
It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a shiny new tool.
It is.
But sometimes the tried and true solutions are still the best.
Absolutely. Each project is unique with its own specific requirements and challenges. Take the time to understand your needs, evaluate your options carefully, and choose a tool that aligns with your goals and values.
So, dear listener, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of automation testing tools, remember this. Choosing the right tool is an empowering journey, not a daunting task. Armed with the knowledge we've explored today, you're well equipped to make an informed decision. And until next time, dear listener, happy testing.